Senator Sanders talking to his supporters. Let's go to the CBS News decision desk once more. Our DeMarco Morgan and Anthony Salvanto will break down Hillary Clinton's path to victory in Nevada.
Elaine, it was very clear that she had to work for that state, even though she won. But if we could for a moment, we're going to talk about Hillary. Let's go and talk about Bernie real quick. What does he do going forward now? Has this sort of like slowed his momentum, or does he still have any gas behind him?
Well, his problem is that we're headed into a part of the electorate that isn't necessarily favorable to him. Now, he said, you just heard him in his speech, he said he thinks he has a good chance to win a lot of the Super Tuesday states. He's going to have to expand out a little more than those young voters who've been so solidly for him. Well, there just aren't quite enough of them, particularly as we head to southern states, as we head to South Carolina. But one of the things that you really want to take away out of Nevada, okay, voters under 45, yes, they went heavily for Sanders. But once you get to older voters, and those are a lot more dominant in southern states too, those go for Clinton. So as we look ahead, that gets a little bit easier for her, because even here in Nevada, they went 2-to-1 for her, and that's been the case in all the polling.
And Nancy talked about this. She didn't do well. Clinton didn't do well with women or with the Hispanic voters. How did she win Nevada?
Right. Well, there weren't enough Hispanic voters, even though they are the heaviest group of the states so far. Nevada has the most of them, but there weren't enough of them to carry Bernie Sanders to a win, right? So Hillary won with non-Hispanic voters, and she won with older voters.
Yeah.
They dominated. They're the largest set. Now, as we move forward from this, what does Bernie Sanders take forward? Well, you get to South Carolina, you get a heavily African-American vote. In fact, they'll make up the majority of voters there. And Hillary Clinton does very well with the African-American vote, particularly because they feel like they know her. They feel familiar with it. They remember the Clinton years. He was very popular with African Americans, and I think some of that reflects over onto her.
So Sanders has a challenge in South Carolina.
Yeah, he does, because he's got to become familiar. He's got to make inroads with a group that will make up the majority of the South Carolina electorate. Then we get on to Super Tuesday, too. You're going to get to Georgia. You're going to get to Alabama. You're going to get to places where, again, that's going to be a majority. The African Americans are going to be a majority of that electorate. How does he make inroads here? I think that's a big question for him going forward.
What about younger voters and women in South Carolina when it comes to Clinton?
Yeah, again, her campaign has to make some inroads, if only to think about, let's suppose she does become the nominee, November, right? You still got to have that enthusiasm. She'll need every vote she can get as the nominee if she gets it. So how to keep them enthusiastic, and whether or not she can make inroads there, I think is going to be an important thing to watch. Even if she loses them to Sanders, can she cut into those margins? Because right now the margins have been huge. Right now the margins, I mean, look at this. Women under age 45 in Nevada, right? 73 to 23. She's got to cut into some of that, because otherwise, if those voters don't turn out for her come November, she's in trouble. Especially in a battleground state like Nevada.
All right, Anthony Salvanto, it's been fun working with you tonight. Let's send it back over to Elaine.
All right, DeMarco and Anthony, thank you both so much.